Video game advertising has always fascinated me. One of the first videos I actually made was on really bad ads from the 2000s. Of every medium of entertainment, I think that video games are the one for which word of mouth marketing is the strongest. Like, if you look at some of the biggest, most popular games of all time, there's more than a few that got there with little to no advertising at all. That's not to say that you shouldn't spend money on your game, because there's no guarantee that that same wildfire effect will happen to you, and there's plenty of games that should be way more popular than they are. Check these out, they're really good. However, when you're making a AAA title, marketing is kind of expected, unless you're Apex Legends, actually. Which is why I want to focus on the marketing campaigns that went a little above and beyond things like expectation, common sense, and most of all, good taste. The katana ad. The infamous. So infamous that despite the game having other marketing, when you say katana ad, everyone knows what you're talking about. To give a little context, katana was supposed to be John Romero's magnum opus, his sickest game, free from the judo hold of id and John Carmack.
I would be going to strangle from the rear. It would be a matter of encircling the neck, getting a little bit of leverage here. That was the tap part.
That was awesome, dude.
It's a good thing you didn't wet your pants.
Then it got delayed. Then it got delayed more. And then this ad ran. The story goes that it was designed by the same artist who did the game's cover. It's almost like he took the cover, removed the logo, and added some text in the same font. Mike Wilson, Romero's business partner, recounts how the ad got greenlit. I remember very clearly presenting that ad to John in his cubicle. He also thought it was hilarious, and was like, fuck yes! And then he sort of started to think twice about an hour later. He was like, I don't know, man, and I think my words to him were, John, don't be a pussy. And that was it. He signed off on it. Needless to say, this was not received well, and Romero has lamented ever since on the terrible foot that the public got off on with katana, which is also his most infamous failure. He and Wilson got into a very weird spat in 2008 when Romero made a blog post calling him out for being an opportunist, that he was just on the lookout to hop onto big projects, slap his asinine logo everywhere, and then just reap the money from being the biz guy while he partied it up. Somewhere in that rant, he put the blame on Wilson for the katana ad. Wilson retaliated in an open letter written to and published by Kotaku, which went something like, you signed off on it too, you had nothing to show at the time anyway because you're a bad project lead, and oh yeah, you're a scumbag. Yeah, it gets weirdly personal, ending off with this beast. I'm also grateful for your concern over my incessant partying, which has somehow led me to be married to the same beautiful woman for 17 years now, while raising two incredible daughters together. You should maybe try the partying, since your unparalleled work ethic and strong character has, just in the time I've known you, left only a bloody trail of ex-wives, fatherless kids, and ill-advised breast implants strewn across this fair nation, even before you flew all the way to Romania for your latest wife. If she's not still around, let me know and I'll see if I could pick another one up for you here in Russia. It's been great catching up, but I'm off to dinner now with Harry Miller, my best friend and business partner for the past decade. Ever had one of those, John? And our very happy new investor, followed by some crazy partying to keep it real, just for you. You take care now, and remember, just because id, IDOS, and then Midway fired you doesn't mean you're not still awesome. Suck it down, your pal Mike. Yikes, dude.
Ion Storm's voluptuous level designer and professional gamer, Stevie Case, describes the game's extraordinary appeal.
Start out in futuristic Japan, and it's all industrial and dark, and then you move on to ancient Greece. Buildings really feel huge, like they should. When you come up on something, it's difficult to give you a real sense of scale in a game. I mean, to make the player feel dwarfed by a structure.
What would a video about bad business decisions be without EA? So, Dante's Inferno is a game from 2010 based on Dante's Divine Comedy, naturally following him as he journeys into hell, except he's a badass Templar with a skeleton scythe. EA really leaned into the whole hell thing for their marketing. You can just hear an executive sitting in their office going, "Oh, religion? Yeah, easy, let's make this one edgy." If you pre-ordered the game at GameStop, you got $6.66 off. Whoa, that's a crazy deal, but it was only available for one day. What day, you ask? September 9th, 2009. 999. Whoa! This is just the appetizer. At E3 2009, EA hired fake Christian protesters to stand outside the convention center with signs like, "Hell is not a game," and my favorite, "Trade in your PlayStation for PrayStation." I do like EA equals Electronic Antichrist, though. That one feels fitting. The best thing about this is the videos of people asking the protesters what they're doing and seeing them slowly break down as they can't keep up the facade anymore.
So what are you guys protesting?
We're here to protest Dante's Inferno, the game by Electronic Arts, Electronic Antichrist. You can't just march into that game with some sort of axe and kill people. Hell is a real place, you know.
And like, even though it's based on a classic, work of Western literature, you think it's not
violence.
good?
I'll tell you this: I haven't read the book, but I've read excerpts.
So what do you recommend that EA do then?
I don't know about EA. I don't know if they could save themselves at this point.
Ironically, some actual Christians were offended by this, as Real Blog, Catholic Video Gamers, posted, "Instead of engaging in a shamelessly anti-Christian stunt to promote your poor excuse of a product, maybe you ought to work on making this game, something better than a blatant God of War ripoff and make it, something worthwhile." Would you actually believe it gets less tasteful? At San Diego Comic-Con that same year, EA hosted a contest where attendants could, and I quote, "commit acts of lust by taking pictures with any booth babe. You could increase your chances of winning by submitting more pictures, and the hand-picked winner would get dinner and a sinful night with 2 hot girls, a limo service, paparazzi, and a chest full of booty." Can you imagine seeing a crowd of paparazzi swarming around a limo, and you ask someone what's going on, and they say, "That's the guy who took the pictures with the scantily clad women at a convention"? That could just be me. In an amazing turn, the winner of the contest was a writer from gaygamer.net. The original page is gone now, but an Ars Technica article includes a portion of his lengthy letter to EA. Have a listen to this. "I think the contest was somewhat sexist, misogynist, and exploitive, especially since you were sending fans upon any booth babe at SDCC. However, as a gay man, I also saw this PR stunt as a missed opportunity that resulted in what appears to be a narrow-minded view as to what your game's audience can truly be. While I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, this stunt projected a view of your target demographic as lustful, heterosexual males, when in reality a larger and larger portion of the gaming population are women and LGBT people. I know booth babes and guys get paid to man those booths and deal with gawkers, but there are also PR, production, and development people at those booths caught in the crossfire of dealing with people trying to do acts of lust with them to win your contest." What makes this so awesome is that literally 6 days earlier, EA executives had appeared on a panel hosted by the Gay and Lesbian Alliance Against Defamation, where they specifically discussed how gaming had a reputation for being a boys' club and being hostile towards LGBT. And you know who else was on that panel? Flynn DeMarco, the founder of GayGamer.net. As an aside, I'm really glad that we're past the point of having booth babes to promote games, not trying to reflect poorly on the women or men who did it, but the practice itself is just like kind of trashy, and it really didn't help gaming's image in the 2000s get away from the unsavory frat party vibe. Oh hey, speaking of, mid-2000s Playboy. There was this period in gaming back around this time, 2004, where hardware was finally starting to get powerful enough that characters could stop looking like they were made of cardboard boxes. And for the most part, a lot of this stuff still looks fine and accomplishes what it set out to do. Keywords, most of the time, because this also meant naturally devs thought, oh, of course, now we can make sexy women. Well look, I don't know if it's me, but when I look at this stuff, I can only see polygons and texturing that isn't quite realistic enough yet. Yeah, this stuff is pretty hard to look at in retrospect, especially with modern examples like, you know. Also, it's not more polygons than Ocarina, that's a hoax. Even disregarding recent graphics to compare it to, I don't know who wanted to see a fully nude, 2-page spread of Luba-licious from Leisure Suit Larry, magna cum laude. Jesus. I'm not showing anything, obviously, but to give you an idea, the first page looks like this. Gaming grows up. Video games and the women who star in them are better than ever. An in-depth look at their twisted and curvaceous future? What? The rest of this section is just a preview of all the hottest upcoming games, including a list of must-haves. The list is pretty expected for the time, with stuff like Doom 3, San Andreas, MGS3, and oh, would you look at that? Playboy the Mansion. Wow, that game must have really been making waves back in 2004. Now obviously that game didn't release on the GameCube, so that list includes titles like Metroid Prime 2, Beautiful Joe 2, and Star Fox 2? Okay, this one was literally on my mind for hours, because when I hear Star Fox 2, I think about the cancelled sequel that was supposed to be on the Super Nintendo in 1995, which most people hadn't even heard of until 2017 when it released on the SNES Classic. So why does this Playboy article mention a Star Fox 2 in 2004, when the only game in the series releasing around that time was Assault? Okay, I stumbled across this months ago, and it took an enormous amount of digging to find the answer. I should have saved it, I didn't, and that's my bad, and I cannot for the life of me rediscover it, but I did scrap up a quote from a gaming publication that came out somewhere around 2001 to 2003. There might have been a video, I don't remember, I think there was, but at one point, the game that I believe became Star Fox Assault was shown to the press as Star Fox 2. For some reason. Again, take this with a grain of salt. I totally found a primary source like 5 months ago that described the game's working title as Star Fox 2. Maybe someone else can verify it, but it happened. Anyway, I think it's kind of funny that a listing of Pikmin 2 is right next to literal porn. Near the end of the segment, there's a section titled Electronic Ladyland, showing off all the sultry games the Playboy audience wants. Video games have always been about sex. Let's just say Mario didn't rescue Princess Toadstool for the cardio workout. This fall, we'll see the release of the sexiest, bawdiest, and most entertaining games ever created. Start with Playboy the Mansion, in which you are Hef, the most powerful man in the world, if power can be measured in chesty, willing blondes. The game is a compelling mix of Sim-style fun and empire-building strategy. You know, it's that kind of thing. They also mentioned Leisure Suit Larry and the Guy Game. Okay, if you weren't aware, the Guy Game was produced by the sleaziest man you've ever seen, Jeff Spandenberg, who also co-founded Retro Studios? He basically took a flight to Venice Beach during spring break and got a bunch of intoxicated college girls to answer trivia questions and take their tops off. He somehow made this into a video game. The Guy game garnered some controversy when it released, as well as a lawsuit. That lawsuit wasn't just some prudish mom group. No, apparently, one of the girls featured in the game was 17 at the time of filming, and also was not informed that the footage would be used in a video game. That's right, the pages of Playboy magazine are advertising actual child pornography. In a now-deleted review, IGN called it solid, simple fun, bestowing it a 7.7 out of 10, which, as you may have guessed, makes the Guy game officially 2.5 times better than God Hand. There's no shortage of bizarre, horrible ways that video games have been marketed, from naming your kid Turok 2 to literally dying of water poisoning to win a Wii. What are some of your favorite video game marketing blunders? Let me know in the comments, and feel free to subscribe and leave a like.